I'm down for some 2-on-2. I really like 2-on-2s actually. They're a good mix of wacky team fun time. Let's slow down the scroll so I don't give you guys a headache. I tend to be a little spazzy, especially with live games when I'm not quite as controlled. We've got Force Commander Codex and his ally Twilight as the mech boy versus Crewfinity, the brother captain, and Adila, the opposing mech boy. A pair of mechs. Let's see, how's the sound on the game? Let me know in chat if the game is too low. Anything along those lines will kick it back up. Otherwise, we'll see how it goes. Let's see, do we have the Space Marines? We've got the Space Marines facing off against the Grey Knights and the Orc Mirror up top. Right now, double shooters down for both Orcs. We've got Stormtroopers coming in for Crewfinity and the Scouts. So standard builds all around so far. So let's take a look around this map right now. We've got VPs all along the center here. Got kind of a central kind of Calderas type of pit there on that VP. So it's pretty laney, this map, it looks like. Pretty straightforward. Nothing too tricky. Some slight terrain differences here and there. I always have to be very aware of height differences in terrain because I like to use plasma devastators a lot. Right now we've got both of the blue team in the center trying to do what they can. That brother captain going for that kill but getting a little greedy, and he's gonna pay for it. Down goes the brother captain for Crewfinity. He really wanted that slugger boy, or that mech boy kill, but yeah, even if he'd gotten another swing or two on him, he probably would have survived. Brother captain very tanky, but doesn't do a whole lot of DPS right out of the gate. So perhaps Crewfinity was just not quite paying attention here. Now here comes the new guys, the Inquisitorial operatives. We'll have to see what they can do. I haven't really played much against Grey Knights yet in this new patch, but I've heard a lot of talk about these Inquisitorial operatives. These Orcs getting perilously low, both sides trying to duke it out. Last in those sluggers just barely. One model escapes, two models for both sluggers. Oh, but one goes down. Was that it? That was it for that slugger boy. There was too much firepower. Both sides were kind of inverted. Kind of going deep with those sluggers a little more than they needed to. Mech boy gets out of trouble. Blue team's gonna hold the middle for the time being. These are just normal stormtroopers. Where's those operatives? Let's take a look at them. They've got shotguns and they can cloak right out of the... Ooh! Oh my goodness! That was a quick pair of scout kills right there. So they can cloak and they do some pretty solid damage, so before you know they're on the field, that first engagement, as we just saw, they can do some pretty serious damage. Get a volley or two off before you realize what's going on, and then even if you hit the retreat button with a weak squad like Scouts, they can get obliterated pretty easily. Big shooters out here blowing up some gens, or at least going to try to. Orcs are moving in to stop that. We got looters on the field. Some assault marines coming down and replacing the Scouts for Codex. Twilight's got himself some Storm Boys though, so we'll probably be seeing some mech Healy action going on here. Storm Boys jump in on the looter squad, but they've got sluggers on top of them. All the shooters blasting back and forth. Got a little suppression there, probably just enough time to mess up that mech boy army. You can see everything's pretty well destroyed. Storm Boys heading on home. Looks like they're going to be sending back with just a single model, if even that. 50 HP. Mech Boy still firing away, down to 20, 18, 14. Mech Boy teleports in, and he's going to be able to tag that last Storm Boy. Big loss for Twilight. That's a couple squads down already for the blue team. It's not looking good. Big advantage for the red team right now, especially with all these Inquisitors. Look at the damage output they've got. Almost again obliterating an entire scout squad. Sarge came in just a few seconds too late. Luckily, those scouts managed to survive. But if that Sarge had been there, he would have spotted these flanking Inquisitorial operatives nice and quick. Getting that cloak right out of the gate seems like it's very, very powerful, because more often than not, you need to invest in some sort of detection, and when you don't even know a squad is on the field yet that can cloak, it's kind of a weird decision to have to know to get detection before anything even hits the field. Of course you can do that anyways, but Loot is trying to lock down this gen farm on the far side. No real definitive victory point lead at the moment. Red team about 50 points up for the time being. Mechboy getting knocked over with his own global there. Actually has a little icon now so that you can see it getting activated. Mechboy goes down for Adila. Still lots of firepower coming in on the flank, and they have the Slugga Boy advantage, so if those Sluggas move in, these shooters are going to have to get out of there. That's probably going to be a lost gen farm on that side of the map. Over on the east, lots of stormtroopers, lots of operatives all running around here. Watch the damage these guys can do if they get off a volley, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. They have some excellent damage output, but they do take a lot of their own. Ooh, he turns around to get a grenade off. He gets the toss, but loses the squad for the price. Probably not worth that particular play right there. Little shoddy, little greedy on that. These guys taking lots of fire now that they've been spotted. Crewfinity, I think, got a little power hungry with those first couple plays he got with those operatives. Now realizing how frail they actually are in the face of this Space Marine force. Brother Captain hunting down that Force Commander. Force Commander completely ignores him though and goes right after some of those stormtroopers. Trying to do some sort of damage, but getting kited around here a bit. Maybe be able to force off one of these squads, but these scouts are getting pretty low. Probably wants to get them out of there. Just lost his last model before that Sarge goes down. Down on the west, that power farm did go down. Orcs now moving into the center of the map. This is the last power farm for the blue team. Two players on opposing sides, both heading into Tier 2. Twilight gonna be a bit behind on power once he gets there, but they're probably not going to be able to make any sort of major Tier 2 purchase. Shoota's trying to get into the retreat path here, it looks like, of that Force Commander. Looking for some trouble way behind enemy lines. And then moving in once again. Now we have both red players on the last gen farm of the blues. This is probably going to be able to go down. The Force Commander is here to try to support, but he does have both armies on this side. Orcs are moving in to try to hold on to this as well, but as it stands at the moment, Mechboy does get knocked over. Those Assault Marines getting stunned by those stun grenades. Tons of ranged firepower over here. Luta's way in the back to support as well without the Assault Marines on the field. I don't think there's going to be any way that the blue team can break through this current setup. Even so, they're valiantly holding and trying to protect these generators. Codex finally going into Tier 2, the last player, as both of the red team are now in Tier 2, or Adila just a few seconds out. But this just might be a bit too much firepower for the blues to hold against right now. They do have the cover advantage for the moment, but that's not really helping the generators. The Ludas have been moved up into position to try to thwart these defending squads. Satchel charge goes down, and watch that. Oh my goodness. Two generators down right away. That's one of the things we've been seeing about these Inquisitorial operatives, is they have a satchel charge, and it does enough damage to buildings that it can outright destroy generators. So something that might be getting looked at later on. It's really difficult to stop that on a squad that can cloak behind enemy lines and then just drop a bomb and take out a couple gens. Pretty easy payoff for not much risk. As it stands right now, blue team falling behind in both tech and victory points at this stage. Blue team now over 200 points in the deficit. There is a Death Dread on the field though, getting upgraded with those burners and bits. Dreadnought coming out for Crewfinity, however. Twilight lead down to just one squad of shooter boys, unfortunately. Codex and Twilight, though, of course, both solid players. There might be a chance they can get back into this, but they're going to have to play super tight from here on out. Mechboy Global keeping that Force Commander on the ground, but didn't manage to stop the decap. Scouts trying to do what they can on the front line, but they can't really hold too much against this kind of ranged firepower between the ISTs and the operatives. Both have some pretty high burst potential for those kind of weak early scouts here. Stick Bomb is coming out for Twilight, and Adila getting his opposing Death Dread on the field. We now have 3 walkers on the field. Codex fallen back once again in the face of the Grey Knights. Now a Dreadnought out here, which he can really do nothing about at the moment. Let's see what his power is looking like. Still a ways off from getting a Power Fist if that's the option he wanted to go. Dreadnought now getting the Claw as well, so that's going to be upgraded to a full-on melee Dreadnought over here. Mechboy just aggressively chasing down this Death Dread, shooting it with his little shooter right there. He doesn't care what kind of damage it does. He just wants to keep that thing tied up. Upgraded Sluggas now out here as well with that knob. Twilight probably just going to be flat out on the wrong side of this engagement right now. He's just in the deficit too far, I think, at the moment. Tank Busters on the field now. That opposing Death Dread gets singularly obliterated right now. Codex did, I think, lose a squad somewhere. Yeah, he lost scouts on the center point here. Is trying to capture that. Got distracted with this engagement and rolled right on in there. Tank Buster Barrage forces off the Ludas, and this might actually be, now that they're working together as a team, forced off the Orcs. Now they can probably combined engage this Grey Knight force. Unfortunately, they just took a huge volley of fire right there. Lost attack squad. This is a lot to deal with right here. We've got plasma rifles on both of the ISTs, and then we have the Psy Cannon on the strike squad. Of course, we have the 1 squad of operatives in the back, and the Dreadnought going. Oh, he actually canceled that melee upgrade, it looks like, and he's sticking with the ranged Dreadnought for the time being. Hell Fury strike going down. However, it's a triple cap. Triple cap against the Blues, and they have precious little time to get back into this game. I think really their only option would have been to try to approach that Grey Knight army while it was on its own, because the army compositions right now are just so much in favor of the red team, I feel like. They are just way ahead all around. Grey Knights coming in on the flank. Blue team's going to be trapped between both sides right now. If they play this just right, they might be able to get in here and force off the majority of the Grey Knights before the Orcs get up here to do anything about it. Mechboy gets taken out by that Mordaka Global once again. That Global's so very powerful. Stick bombs coming down right on top of those Stormtroopers, along with the Tank Buster Barrage. That could take out both squads if it lands right. One does go down, the other escapes with just a single model. 81 to 492 though. This Dreadnought might be going down if they're not careful, but the Sluggers are moving in and take out those Space Marines so quickly with the assistance of that Brother Captain Global. GG gets dropped, and we're going to move on to the next game.
Hold fast to the Emperor, are never truly defeated.
One victory right now for Crewfinity and Adila. Upgrade the scoreboard in just a moment here. It was a little sloppy by the blue team. They started pulling some plays there towards the end, but that opening was just too much for them to recover from. Hopefully they can pull it together. I think both Twilight and Codex are a bit rusty, and I don't think they've been doing team games much recently on top of that, so hopefully they've shaken a bit of that rust off and they can get back into the game in the coming match. Those stick bombs into the Tank Buster Barrage was pretty fun, though. I like seeing things explode, man. And Orcs have the messiest ways to do it. Alrighty. GG Relic, appropriately named, as they were able to drop the first GG.